guys, and welcome to your March 2021 reading. We are going to be taking a look at how you and your love interests are feeling for this month. We are entering Pisces season, so I do want to go over just a couple different little notes so you are aware and that you can use the most benefit of the energy of Pisces this month. I am going to use several decks while we go look into love. We're going to really dive in because Pisces season is overall a very sentimental and very compassionate type of energy for the month. We're really able to look beyond kind of some of those surface situations, and some of those dreamy vibes, even for the most cynical person, can really start to come out, and you can just kind of get an opportunity to really enter into that world and explore some of your emotions and kind of get your senses going into all of that. I really want to point out that your intuition and your ability to tap into that and experience those serendipities and those coincidences are going to be kind of striking this month. I mean, you're really going to stand out, and you're going to have an opportunity to either acknowledge them and realize that this is really something, or you can ignore them. I would definitely recommend doing some periodic reality checks. That would be wise, especially if it includes money or wellness or love or any of those things. Just make sure you're kind of coming from a very practical standpoint. Keeping your third eye chakra is going to be very important, because it does involve communication and creativity. Well, not as much communication, but it does involve a clear connection, almost on an intuitive and spiritual level. So you want to keep that flowing, and it's really it does have more to do with that intuitive type of sense. So if you feel like you need to get that open, if you feel like you have a blockage there, we can definitely look into that, so you can reach out and ask me about that. Lots of water this month, you guys. I can't even stress that enough. It is, for whatever reason, it just definitely stands out this month to try to keep that flow, going. You definitely want to keep your channels open and keep your body in the best health possible. And definitely sit down with a notebook if you start noticing you guys have dreams, or these repetitive types of situations, or things are just kind of, you try to put the puzzle pieces together. Start writing the puzzle pieces down so that you can really do that at some point that you feel comfortable. At this point, just let it go. If you got some grudges you're holding on to, some things that you just kind of governs how you feel and how you're doing things and how you're applying your energy, really take a moment and reflect on that, identify it, and just get it out the door. It's really the perfect time to release that. Pisces season and energy can certainly illuminate some of those things, and you really don't want to fall victim to that mentality, as opposed to just kind of rising above that and dealing with the change that needs to take place. Other than that, allow yourself to romanticize, let go, and just allow this. It can be intense, the Pisces season, so you might as well make the most of it in a romantic way, to where you not only can kind of have this glamour shine to those around you, and the person that you do have a love interest in, they can kind of see that a little bit softer side of you, that you kind of open up your heart space and open up that ability to communicate and get on that same page. If that's the other person that needs to be doing that, you can expect a little bit more of that coming from them. Overall, it's going to be much better to come out of that shell and to not be, hard-nosed to it, or criticizing yourself or the possibilities and the potential of the relationship. Okay, so just keep the vibes high and allow yourself to just kind of deepen that connection with the person that you're interested in. Okay, so we have a couple things that we're going to look at this month: how they feel about you, kind of understanding where some of those blockages are, why you might be feeling the way that you've been feeling. We're going to dive into some strategies that can help and kind of identify what's out of balance, and get you the most information that you can possibly use to get your relationship and love life in the exact position that you'd like it to be. So let's go ahead and get started, and we'll see how things are looking for you. All right, Cancers, let's take a look and see how the person you are interested in, or that you might have a love interest in, feels about you at the moment. And then we'll take a peek on how you're feeling and why you're feeling that way. Alright, so first of all, how are they feeling about my Cancers? March 2021. Alright. Six of Swords in reverse, Page of Wands in reverse. Did you cut somebody off or what? Six of Swords in reverse. Yeah, you've kind of like, put the anchor down and said, halt for just a second. Let me take a look at actually what's going on here. maybe there was some bad news or something that didn't go quite right, or something that just didn't jive with you, or maybe it just wasn't quite what you were looking for. When it came to some very important maybe ideals that you had in the other person. But I do get the impression that um, for some of you, it could also be that there's things going on where you've got a lot going on, so you can't pursue that right now, and possibly you're not communicating it well to the other person, so it looks like it's a little bit more going on than there is. So there's two different scenarios there for people, depending on your situation. So far that's kind of what I'm seeing about that. But whatever your deal is, I do get the impression that maybe there's some room for clarity that could be helpful. And if this is indeed just somebody that you're not really digging, then I would go ahead and just make that known, as opposed to, dragging that along. If it's somebody that you might have an interest in, I would certainly be wary of giving the impression that maybe you're not interested, because I think that's kind of what's happening at this particular moment, okay? I'll get one more Five of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, or that maybe you just work so much that you don't have time for a relationship. I mean, that could also be the situation as well. One more on how they feel about you. Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, a lot of work going into maybe not them, basically. So they don't get a very good vibe about you pursuing them. They did, but it came out in the reverse. Oh, I put it in the upright. It did come out in the reverse, which is an indication that you're not, if you have an interest in somebody, then you would have a certain type of response, right, and consistency. And if that's not there, then it does give off an impression that maybe you're not interested in working this out or moving forward with it. So I do feel like with this coming out in the reverse, that they do get the feeling that you're really not, interested. So depending on your situation and your position, that's good to know. But it's also not something that anybody wants to stay in for too long. So decide if that's something you're going to, let go, or if you're going to pursue, but definitely get on the same page, because that's tough for anybody to just sit in that energy. What part of you are you leaving behind or addressing? Okay, that's possible too. You could be addressing some things. Let's take a look. Be in the present and dream of the future. When we dream, everything is possible. And I love you. These are powerful words. So I think maybe there could be a past situation that is kind of lingering, or maybe is a influencing energy over your idea of what love is and what you want for the future. It could just be a very unrealistic situation. It could be a past connection that is kind of holding you in that energy. Let's see if anything else comes out. So consider your foundation and look how committed you are to love. So it is possible that for some of you, commitment is tough and it is scary. And then for others of you, it could just be that there's a past situation that has made it very difficult for you to move forward. But, or maybe there's some regrets that you have, or some things that are holding you back from feeling like you deserve this. And really, these cards are saying, especially this one, that you are divine and delightful and deserving of all the wonderful things that life has to offer. And take a moment and recognize, what love means to you and what do you want in the future. Live in the present, be happy with who you are, be at peace with who you are, where you are, why you're there, and be confident about where the future is going, even if it's unknown, even if you have no idea what that picture looks like. You have faith in what the universe has in store for you, where you're going, faith in, you're in the plan, in your path, in your journey, and what the universe will do for you when you just kind of give over that control and allow them to just kind of guide you a little bit. I think you'll see that coming out of that shell is actually, a little bit easier than you expected it to be, and it actually might even help you realize and recognize a few things about yourself maybe you didn't even know, were really from the outside looking in, people could really see that. Maybe you didn't realize that that was taking place. And you definitely don't want the wrong person to get the wrong impression, especially when it comes to emotions and things like that. And get to know each other is what keeps popping out here. Learning to meet another person's need for love. That's important for both sides. So if you've had a bad experience, with that type of situation, then I would say I wouldn't cut off the idea of love, and I would certainly just use it as a learning experience. Okay, so I'm going to take a peek at kind of just a little bit more of what you might be addressing or leaving behind here. That inner child, that part of you that just really wants to come out and have a good time and be loved, love in return, have a very light-hearted, fun, safe foundation that you can just be yourself in. And you don't have to have that wall up or have that guard, and to let somebody in is very vulnerable, but it's something that's necessary to be happy. And forgiving yourself, forgiving somebody else, whatever it is that you're holding on to, definitely let that go. And just be at peace with it. At some point, you have to bring it up. You have to evaluate the situation. Fuck it happened. Let it go. Forgive the situation. Forgive yourself. I mean, life goes on, and everybody's got some of those. Everybody does, and you can't let that rule your life and influence, what you're going to say you deserve in life either. So I would not let that be a limitation, basically. Which is why one of those came out with, you are divine, delightful, and deserving of everything that life has to offer. That's why that came out specifically, because of that situation right there. Now, last but not least, I do want to take a look at what might be some things that are out of balance and some strategies to kind of restore that balance. Okay. Alright, so as far as where things might be out of balance, making conscious decisions to raise your vibration, I'd say that applies quite well. If that's something that you have trouble with, because it does mean you're releasing a certain amount of control and allowing the universe to kind of help guide you, and being less skeptical and more open-minded and optimistic about the potential and the possibilities, and letting that guide you so that you don't necessarily have that desire for others to approve of you, or for you to be accepting of your own self-approval, but to actually just be satisfied in that present moment that you have. Those are things that are a little bit out of balance right now in your quality of life and just overall. Making those conscious vibrational decisions and elevating yourself in a way that gets you in a position where you need to be without anybody else. At that moment, that's when you really kind of have a step up, and then you have room for somebody else. And without that, it does make it difficult to be able to balance and manage all of that. What you can do to help balance that out a bit, or a strategy that you can use in regards to that imbalance, is to not only demonstrate what it is that you want. You want to live in that life as if you have that. That's the mentality, that's the actions you take, the thoughts that you have, the feelings that you express. Those things are what manifested into your life. And so to dedicate yourself to consciously making the right step forward with love, with conscious, responsible choices, with decisions, with all of those things, with equal satisfaction and reciprocity. Each one of those situations demands a certain amount of balance and a certain amount of respect and equality. But if it's one-weighted and there's one of you that's just not able to open up, especially for a Cancer, that will make it very difficult. But you have the determination and the dedication to consciously show your efforts and to show you how you feel to this person and to yourself. It's just a matter of kind of maybe redefining what that looks like for yourself, so that you can have that focal point. And then priorities, understanding the paramount of and importance of manifesting love in all situations. and being able to keep your priorities in order. So if you are kind of a workaholic or you put work first, definitely at least allow some time. If you are kind of pursuing or somebody has an interest and they think that you may as well, but they don't hear from you, then that could be pretty upsetting and confusing for somebody to know how to read that. So I would recommend being able to express yourself in a way that, at least shows that you are willing to make a little bit of time or space for that person. And if not, if that's really affecting you and that's not something you want to do, then that's your answer. But you need to let them know as well, so you're not just stringing them along. So anyway, I hope that helps. It looks like you have a really cool opportunity to get to know somebody. It's just a matter of, what do you want, and is it time for you to do that? Is it something you're excited about and there's a little bit of fear, or are you just kind of dreading it because you're just not ready? And there's a big difference, but sometimes emotions can get cloudy and it's hard to determine. So if you are looking to clarify your situation, feel free to reach out. It is a general reading. Take what fits, leave the rest. And if you need more clarity, just let me know. All the information to book your readings down below. Otherwise, I hope you have a great month. I will see you in April. Much love, guys.